Hello everyone, welcome to PDF Programming and Design on Fridays. So today our goal is to recreate some elements of this this site, this fancy site from Stripe. So of course we're not gonna create this this awesome background, animating background, but the idea is that it's actually responsive, right? When we resize the page, you see those elements arranged automatically, and also over here those company logos, if we actually resize it, it'll become smaller, and its layout is going to change. We are not going to have time to recreate everything on this page. Obviously, it's quite a big page, but the idea is that we're gonna just work on the top, maybe just the top portion of this site, and also the reason that I wanted to show you this is that last time we've done some responsive design framework as well. I made a comment that I wish some features on Webflow is available on Framer, because this is the one that I meant. This is Webflow, and what I meant is that, like, by default you have this 4 different kind of layout, and you can basically switch between those layouts. And for example, if you set some property, let's say for this text block, and if we set its top padding to be 180, so that's top padding, and everything that's gonna come after this layout is gonna inherit this value. So this is gonna be like I have already overridden it, but I can click on it to actually reset it back to the inherited value. And also, if I change, for example, if I change the padding for this iPad view, now let's make it maybe smaller, make it much smaller, and over here, on basically the layout to its right, it's gonna inherit from this iPad view instead of the desktop view. So this is kind of a cascading inheritance of the properties, which is going to be very useful. Let's say like this is a 47, but if I click on it and if I click reset, it's going to reset to whatever set in this iPad view, which is 63, instead of the padding on this desktop view, which is 128. So I said that one was actually not supported in Framer, but it was actually not accurate, like I mentioned in the email. With some tweak, we can actually do something like that. That's what I'm gonna show you a bit soon. And also, if we have time, I want to show you this as well. Like when we resize, you see the font size of this title, this part, it actually continually change like that. And that's something what we need to. That's something that we need to use code to implement in Framer. Let's see if we have time for that, and let's just continue. Okay, so this is a starter file that I have already sent it to the chat box, so that you can open the link and follow along with me if you want. Okay, now this is basically includes some kind of mock-up stuff that looks similar to the Stripe site, which is not exactly the same, but this is not creating 100% accurate site is not our goal for this particular for this webinar. but the idea is to show you how to do some specific things, basically show you what I have learned in the past weeks, and I found it very interesting. So okay, so we have this one, and now we're gonna create frames of different sizes. So let me create a frame, and let's use like MacBook Air. So that's for the desktop view, and then the next thing that I wanted to do is to actually turn this into a design component. So I can right click on it and create a component, or maybe use Command K or Control K on Windows. So this becomes a design component. Let's rename it to desktop. Okay. And now we want to create the kind of placeholder for iPad view, right? So let me duplicate it. And now if you look at this this new frame, it actually it's still called desktop, but like in this outline, we can see that it is an instance. So the other one is called the primary, and this one is called instance, which means that this is an instance of the design component. So if we do whatever change on this design component, this primary, and then this instance is going to change accordingly. Okay, but that's not an iPad view, right? So this is the kind of trick that I figured out, and it seems to be working really well. Which is like, now I can right click and add a frame around this instance. So it's gonna have exactly the same size as that instance we put in inside. Or alternatively, we can use a shortcut, which is Command Enter. So it'll convert it into a frame. It'll basically add a frame over there, so you can see the overview here, like outline here. So this is the instance, and this is the frame that we just added. And now, what we're gonna do? Well, we're gonna create a component again. So click this frame and Command K, create a component, and it becomes a primary. And then let's rename it to iPad landscape. Okay. So which means this is a component. This is the primary of the component that includes an instance of another design component. So that's what we have so far. Got an iPad landscape, and we got a desktop. And of course, we need to actually change the size to iPad. So let's change the size to iPad. Let's just choose this one, and this is the landscape. This is the landscape, okay. And next, you can probably guess what I'm gonna do. Like I wanted to create a layout for portrait. So add Command Enter again to add a frame, and then Command K again to turn it into another design component, and change it to iPad portrait. Okay, so that's iPad portrait. Let's do one more thing. One more. Okay, and Command D, and this time we want an iPhone portrait size, right? And the Command Enter, add a frame, Command K, and iPhone. Okay, and let's actually change it, make it look like an iPhone portrait. So that's kind of the kind of the groundwork that we need to do to make this happen. And this actually looked pretty similar to what we have in Webflow already. Okay, and now I'm gonna show you how this is gonna work, right? So let's just copy something from let's copy a couple things from the source over here. So if I click this desktop primary and paste, suddenly we have um, like the elements on all of those layouts, right? This is totally expected because this is a design component, right? And we have instance on each of the items, each of the frames over there. In this they all contain an instance of this design component, which is totally expected. And if we move things around, and that's expected as well. And now the interesting thing is that we want to customize them, right? For example, for this landscape mode, what do we want to customize? Let's say if we want to change the size of the font size, maybe make the font size a little bit smaller than the full size desktop view, right? Let's change it to, I don't know, 56 or something. Did you see? Whenever I make change to this iPad landscape view, all the portrait view or the iPhone view, they change accordingly, right? But this desktop does not change. So this is again, we are actually implementing this cascading effect, cascading feature in Webflow. Now we're actually right inside Framer. That's pretty cool. And let's say for this one, if I want to move the things around, again, this will only affect the layout to its right. So now actually I forgot something. This is supposed to be portrait, right? This is supposed to be portrait, and this is a portrait iPhone. Okay, now if I move this, you see it only affect the iPhone, affect the text on the iPhone, right? And let's say if we done some kind of adjustment here, but we did not turn out that we did not like the customization. We can actually reset all the overrides. And if I right click on this text, and there's a reset overrides menu over here. If we select that, guess what is gonna reset to? Is it gonna be like this or this? Yeah, I guess you probably guessed it right. It'll be like this iPad landscape. So I think this is a kind of successful implementation of this property cascading feature available in Webflow, and this is all because of the flexibility of design components, or components in Framer, which is very very flexible. And that enables a lot of interesting things. And let's probably complete this a little bit. And again, we can independently adjust. Maybe this font. Let's change it even smaller. Again, I said the goal is not 100% replica of actual Stripe website. But the important thing is to kind of share with you the finding that I have made in the last few weeks, last week. Okay, so now we got this this one, right? Let's just copy this device frame over here to the desktop, and you see, whenever I make change to desktop, when I add stuff into the frame, will automatically get it in other layouts. And of course, this is not available. This is not visible in the portrait mode or the iPhone view, because it's sitting somewhere here. Okay. Cool. So that is this one. And also the other thing that I want to show you is that this is just kind of one screen, but it's actually, the actual content is taller than just one frame like that. We need to make it scrollable, right? We need to make it scrollable. So how to make it scrollable? Um, is the answer is that we're gonna use the scroll component, right? Maybe let me make this actually taller so that I can paste in all the logos there. Pasting the logo there, and this needs to be taller as well. I think this is not correct. Yeah, when you resize the frames, make sure that you actually resize the root one, the iPad land, not the instance, or else it'll look kind of weird. So, and I'm gonna resize that, and for this one, resize that, and this one, resize that, right? And of course, we need to make changes to these one. I think we need to actually change the orientation of the stack. So this is going to be horizontal, and these stacks needs to be vertical. Okay, so that looks slightly better, right? It looks slightly better. Okay. And I think this is pretty convenient, right? Once I made changes to this portrait, and I have it like kind of automatically have it on the iPhone view. Okay, let's maybe change the padding a little bit. 24, 16, 16. Okay, that's roughly about it. And now let's add the scroll, right? And how do we add the scroll? We'll have to create a new frame, which is iPad, like a MacBook Air, and then actually let me add the scroll inside. Scroll. The scroll inside. And change them to like all zeros in its four corners so that it'll occupy the full screen, and then connect to that, and then we have a scrollable view like that. Okay, and let's make a few copies of this, and now it needs to be iPad. Now this guy needs to be iPad portrait, and this guy needs to be iPhone. Okay, and of course we need to change this content to this guy, and to this guy, and to this guy. Okay, yeah, I haven't found an easier way than this. We'll have to create those duplicated frames, unfortunately for now. But yeah, I think that's roughly what we wanted. And next step is to actually add that responsive. How come it's all capitals? Responsive layout component. Okay, install. Show, insert, where is it? It's over here. Okay, and connect it to all different frames. This is becoming a bit slow for some reason. Okay, now if we look at the preview, it should be what we wanted. Now let's change it to responsive, right? Okay. So if we make it smaller, it should sort of like use the layout that we have already. See, those logos are actually have a different layout than what we have in the wider website, like a wider version, right? Yeah. So I think that's pretty much what we want to do. Except that it's like I said, it's not the same exactly same match as the original website, but you get the idea, right? The idea is that let me reiterate here is the key is actually this one. This is a kind of weird trick. So you create a design component and then make a copy over there, and you create a design component that includes that instance of that design component, and then you can create another design component that includes the instance of this design component. So you can keep it going, and in that case, you can implement this kind of cascading properties behavior without writing any line of code. So I think that's pretty useful. Okay, it looks like we have time to do that coding part. We have actually 10 minutes. Let me go through it probably quickly. So the goal is that when we resize, we want the font size of this title automatically change, right? So, but right now it's not doing that. Current behavior is that it kind of jumps around. Like if I make it smaller, see it jumps around. It does not really make a good experience. So how do we do that? We're gonna do it in code override. So right here, if we click on this text, and this is, by the way, this is actually not the standard text tool, because there is not a official way to change the size from the code. So I use this web font component. So for that one, we can override its size, and now actually let's click this edit code, and we already have the override for that text. Right now it's just overriding this text. Okay, we didn't have to do this, but the idea is that maybe I should still show this preview here and go to the code. And the idea is that we can override this size. Let's say make it 40, and it'll change the font size. Hopefully, does it change? I think it changed it. Change it, right? Let's make it super big, like 400. It should change it to be super big text. So that means we can use this property. We can override that. Now the trick is that how are we gonna be able to recognize the resizing of the window, right? So we want to recognize that, and the way to do that is to use a hook. So I'm probably not gonna explain the details, but you'll see what I'm doing here. And we're gonna use the use effect hook, and over there put this empty array here so that it only runs once. And over here we want to add a listener, add a resize listener to the window listener, and we'll just put it here for now. And window add event listener, and it's gonna be a resize listener. I'm gonna add that, and need to return a function that actually cleans up this listener. This is kind of like the pattern of using use effect. Resize listener. So when it resize, we want to change the font size, right? So let's say we need a state to actually record the size. I usually forget how to type when I'm doing webinars. So let's say size, set size equal use state, and let's make it initial to be 60, and we'll probably change make a change to that a bit later. And now whenever, let's say if actually if we go over here, what is the easiest way to illustrate? I think this one is probably easier. So this the window size is 810, and iPhone is a 414. Okay. Now let's go over here. If the 414 window width AU10. Okay, if it's that, we're gonna change the size to some new size, and let's define this window width, which is equal to window dot inner width, and this new size, let's define that as well. New size, let's calculate that, and there's an easy way to calculate that actually. There is a function called transform from Framer. We can say transform the window width. If the window width is between 414 and 810, we're gonna change it to, let's look at the values here as well. And what is the font size here? So it's 67 and 50. Okay, so let's go over here. 57, 67, 50, 67. So that is the new size, and I think we have it already. Is it working? Oh, this is not working because we have not actually used this size. So line number 19, we just use this size, override it. I think it should work. Did it work? Yeah, it works, right? So it gradually reset a new size for the title. How much time do I still have? Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. And there's actually a better way to do this, and I will just show you the code, and I will actually show you the code right here. So we can use transform this way. So if the window size is 414, like if it's between this value and this value and this value, we're gonna be able to use the font size like this, and then we don't need that if statement anymore. We can just directly calculate the font size and set it to font size and use it, and this makes a much smoother. This is probably not responsive, so if we make it responsive, you can see the size of the font. It changes much smoother. Okay, so this is what I have for today, and I have one question over there. If there is some parallax scrolling on the page, is it still working to apply the responsive design component? I think so. I haven't tried it. I think in theory it should work because I'm not hacking anything. It's just like we can actually change, like yeah, we can add the parallax stuff, for example, using my parallax scrolling component. um, if we put all the stuff in this primary, and we'll be able to set the values. And the more interesting thing is that for each of the each component, or each of the breakpoint or layout right here, we can set different property values. So we can we can use different, slightly different parallax effect, I think. But yeah, if you go ahead and give it a try, and let me know if it actually works, and if it's not working, maybe I can take a look. Do you guys have other questions? All right, if no other questions, and let's call it a day. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see you next week. All right, thank you. Bye bye.